folks, Lorraine Smith here. I'm going to walk us through another Materiality Bite, this one on greenwash. It's a theme that comes up a lot in the field of corporate social responsibility, ESG disclosures, and it turns out as I was going through the JBS materiality assessment, greenwash came up in a couple instances, well, in a few interconnected ones, and I'd like to walk us through some of the key places where I think it's relevant. So there were three key themes. They're explained here in the opening slide. Two of them I feel are very interconnected with the greenwash theme. The first is around how the business model perpetuates harm. And the second is around, even though the ESG statements are on trend, they're lacking in impact. And I want to take us through a couple quick tours of how I see that playing out in the theme of greenwash and why it matters in relation to an economy in service of life, which is what I'd like to think we're all driving towards. So I'm going to go here from the table of contents, which is linked at the top of each slide, into the first theme around the business model harming people and planet. And the very first sub-theme on that is around regeneration, or in fact the absence of genuine information about regenerative activity. So what does this have to do with greenwash? Well, in this instance, I found it quite disturbing, actually, that there is beautiful information about the recipients of charitable giving through the JBS Fund for the Amazon. So really lovely stories, incredible people doing important work, talking about how they're keeping the forest standing, that the wealth of the forest is when it stays up. Imagery such as what you see here in this video, which, by the way, you can click on any of these red boxes and they will take you to the source material from JBS. And, we see these beautiful chickens enjoying chicken lives, and among other animals and plants, and with people who are really living in right relation with the land. Meanwhile, that's not how the company makes money. That's how it spends a small fraction of a percent of its revenue in charitable giving. How it earns revenue, its business model, is the highly efficient processing of animals into meat products. They produce other products as well, but that's a big piece of it. And this is what it looks like to be a chicken in the business model of JBS. That's a kind of greenwash where we see this sort of beautiful stuff going on over here, when in reality, this is the way the company makes money. There's other ways that shows up, and you can sort of click around and see different versions. I want to just go deeper into the ESG trendy trap department for a minute here. This is a theme that I expand on further, and you can have a closer look. I do go into more detail again on the JBS Fund for the Amazon and how there is a disconnect there. And by the way, that also relates to their work around deforestation and their disclosures on deforestation. I did another Materiality Bite quite specific on that, so I'll make sure that's linked. But here in greenwash, I want to just swoop into another version. That one's already kind of heartbreaking, where we see what feels like really beautiful business practices, but it's not actually how the company makes money. Another form of greenwash is I think of it as a sort of more irritating or simply misleading kind of greenwash, where, for example, when I landed on the JBS USA sustainability homepage, it's quite a big banner image. I'm going to click on it. The material is sourced in, you can click right on the source in the deck if you like, and you can see this image. It's huge. It takes up kind of literally my whole screen. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. Those cows look like they're, maybe part of holistic grazing or something that suggests an ecological mindset towards cattle and beef production. I tried to find information about it. Is there a caption? Can I see how they fit in with JBS's supply chain? And in fact, I could not. And in fact, it turns out it is a Shutterstock or stock image that they bought from a stock image supplier. In fact, it's even a high usage stock image. That was very disappointing, and I would say that's a missed opportunity. JBS has lots of cows in its supply chain. Why not show what's actually happening? There may be reasons why not. I do not know what they are. So that is a little tour of some of the more glaring elements of greenwash. I think it matters because the object of the game is for companies to be working in service of life, enabling us to be well, look after ourselves, one another, and the world that we live in, and the wider ecology. And so I'd like to see that being possible and being genuinely part of what the company's doing. I offer a lot of ideas based on what other stakeholders are saying as well in this deck. Please feel free to explore it. There's lots more information. On slide 8, you can find out more about the context of this deck, who I am and how I came to put this together, why I did this. There's a link to a guest book. I'd really love to hear from you. You can sign it anonymously if you'd like. You can leave feedback, questions, ideas, tips. Speaking of tips, this link here is to my tip jar. That's how I keep the lights on. So thank you very much for any support and for sharing this if you find it helpful.